Well, hello, Internet. Welcome to the home studio. Malakye and I are here. We have given the radio station to Nigel and Dan on
They're gonna
Fridays
do
to do their
amazing.
own thing.
Yeah.
But we still wanted to connect with all of you and talk about our topic on Fridays, which is art and entertainment. My personal art that I bring to the world is jumping on stages and acting like a maniac.
On the one wheel.
On the one wheel, it's very
You can't
artistic.
forget that because that's a really big part of it that makes it so unique.
It is. So I closed out our NFT NYC conference, the eighth conference around crypto collectibles, digital assets, and it was all about tokenized communities. And I can only stream up to 10 minutes of something here. So I cut 10 minutes out. I'm going to share that with you to kick us off, and then we'll jump in and have a fun conversation with you. So let me introduce you to the talk I gave, Times Square, New York. This is just captured with some cell phones. The professional edit hasn't been done yet, but I still think you'll enjoy it. The audio is good enough, and you get an idea of my passion for tokenizing communities. We'll be right back. San Francisco for 10 generations, 250 years. And so I come from two different families, the Moragas and the Pachecos. And the Moragas, they founded the Presidio in San Francisco. They founded the city of San Jose. And the Pachecos, they're known for Pacheco Pass, or the Trails of Tears. And you know, if you go further back in your history, you're going to find that somewhere back there was royalty, the Moragas, and somewhere back there was either the victimizers that had slaves or the victims that were slaves. The Pachecos were both. I mean, how about here in New York, which I love to come to? On my father's side, the Italians came here. My last name was Utile. It was 9 letters. But there was so much persecution for Italians when they left their community in Sicily and they came here that they changed their name to Utile. And I've been called everything. Utile, Utile, Utiti. I mean, people have tried everything. It's Utile. Because my great-great-grandfather changed our last name because he left the community he belonged to and came to a new place that he didn't fit in, where his people were not at. On the other side of my father is an Ashkenazi Jew. My great-great-grandfather escaped Europe, didn't get thrown in the concentration camps, came to America, and never told my grandma she was a Jew. My dad had no idea. It's when I did the ancestry thing for him and my mom that my dad found out. My grandfather was an Ashkenazi Jew and escaped Europe. That's crazy. Why? Why did he never tell his family about his ancestry? Because he left his people, because his people were persecuted, and he lost his identity, and he chose to just be another person in New York. And when we think about tokenized communities, isn't the idea to decentralize what's currently centralized? Don't you imagine that even the largest centralized faith communities, like the Catholic Church, does it get larger than that? Or the Mormon Church, right? Or some of these big centralized institutions. Don't you think that the people are going to demand eventually that they decentralize? I mean, all these faith groups are already trying things around tokens, or trying things around distributed ledgers, trying things around NFTs. Don't you imagine that our kids, our grandkids, are going to demand that they have immutable ledgers that show them where the money goes? When I give you money, what are you doing with it? Are you feeding the homeless? Are you housing people? Are you caring for orphans and widows? What are you doing with the money I give you? And who are the people that are in charge, and why are they in charge? And how do I know they actually are qualified for this? Don't you understand that we're the generation that's demanding more of institutions, and the centralization just no longer is going to be accepted? So we have these NFTs, which we're here at NFT NYC. I love this place. It's my 8th event with the team. Love being here with Lou every year. NFTs are private, exclusive, limited communities. And then we have things like memes, or just general fiat cryptocurrency. And these are inclusive. You can own a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of one of these things, and you're still in the club, right? Now, when you think about the inclusive communities of crypto and the exclusive communities of NFTs, you want to ask yourself, what is it about these that cause people to have loyalty. It has to do with belonging. Maybe it helps if we think of a community as a body. So when you go and you're part of a community, you ask yourself, am I a thinker? Am I the brain of this community? Should I be thinking for us? Am I a communicator? Am I the mouth of this community? Should I be speaking for us? Am I the doer? Am I the feet for this community? Should I be marching forward for us? Am I the heart? Should I feel for us? Am I the hands? Should I reach out and reach somebody and bring them toward us? Now, the hand is no good without the arm. The brain is no good without the neck. So wouldn't it make sense for us to be a little bit more thoughtful about how each of us are bringing something to the table? One of the things I love about NFTs and I love about memes or crypto in general is the ability that people have to make a sacrifice when they join. You know that our ancestors didn't join communities like, I've arrived, here I am, you're so fortunate, I've joined your community, what's in it for me? That's not how they acted. All of our ancestors were a lot more like this. Hey, can I be part of this? I mean, I could clean some toilets. I could, no. It's not about me. I see you and I think to myself, maybe you're my people. There was so much humility with the way that our ancestors joined communities. Yet somehow, some way, our attitude has changed so far from the primal human way that we've interacted with communities for so long. But it's not too late. We can still turn the tide. We can still join with humility. And one of the ways you join with humility is to start with sacrifice. So when you go buy that NFT, you're making a financial sacrifice to come in humbly and say, I honor this community. I'm here to lay down my money. What is money? But a simple tool to exchange value. I have money. I've been given something that says I brought value to somebody. I'm going to give my value to you because I value your community. You want to be a Bitcoin holder, an ETH holder, a meme coin holder. You walk in and you don't beat your chest and say, here I am, everybody. You get your wallet and you join in. Decentralized. Don't talk to nobody. There's no interview. There's no process. Your money does the talking. Your sacrifice does the talking. It's the sacrifice financially that gets you in the club because you value being part of it. Maybe there's 2 times that a person, it's most important in their life. The day they're born and the day they find out why. But what if the way we find out why we're born, our purpose, our destiny, what if it's hidden inside of that community? What if it's when you find your people, then you find your purpose? What if it's your destiny is hidden in the community? And you don't just want to be in a community and be like, you're my person. I love you. I see you. No, you want to be in a community and you want to walk around. You want to hear, you're my person. I love you. I see you. We all want to be seen. We all want to be loved. We all want to be somebody's people. And we can tokenize the process of communities. My chief of ethics has been with me 11 years. He recently shared this vision he has of homeless museums and incarcerated museums. And the idea is this. How about our great-grandkids never know what a homeless person is like, never seen a jail or a prison because we solved homelessness and incarceration? How do we do that? Maybe it's communities. Maybe centralized communities is not doing the trick. Maybe we need to rethink decentralized communities. Because ultimately, if you aren't part of a community of thugs, then you don't do the crime, then you don't do the time. And you see Ted, he's been playing basketball at San Quentin with the prisoners for the last 18 years, so they became his people. And he started thinking, we can solve this. We can solve the incarceration. We can stop 21st century slavery. There's got to be a way to do this. Maybe it's communities. And I would say, well, maybe it's tokenized communities. How do we give people a chance to join a community to change their destiny because they find their purpose in their people and they do it, and the first thing they do is sacrifice, whether it's with a meme or it's with an NFT. And my final thing I want to say to all of you is this. It's not the crowd that transforms the world. It's the woman. It's the child. It's the grandfather. It's the one that's been counted out. It's the one that had to learn a new language. It's the one that's failed. It's the one that lights themselves on fire and lets the world come watch them burn. And for those of you that are in this room, and for those of you that watch this later, I just poured gasoline on you. Do you have the courage to light the match? Do you have the courage to light the match? That was my question as I ended that passionate talk.
I love that ending. I love that ending. It's so cool.
So I gave that talk at Philippine Blockchain Week 3 times in three different ways. I had like 35 minutes for each of those keynotes.
Yeah.
And then for that one, I took about 10. So you got to see me share that basic premise, right? Tokenized communities. All 4 times were totally different. I wasn't prepared. I wasn't prepared the first time, nor was I prepared the last time.
Or
just going up and intuitively, spontaneously making art. That's my art. That's my entertainment.
Yeah.
So you are my son, so you get to see me live behind the scenes. It has been said of both Elvis and Michael Jackson, not that I'm comparing myself to them as like some great performer, but it's been said of them that they were only really themselves on a stage. And now that I've done hundreds of keynotes and 1,000 plus live streamed interviews, I do understand the potential of becoming kind of like alive on a stage, right? I'm on a one wheel, I'm floating around, all these things are going on, and you get all the feedback from the crowd right there physically plus digitally. But what is it like for you? I mean, how do you process how I act off of stages, away from live streams? How is it for you to process things like that?
When you say something like Elvis and Michael Jackson were only themselves.
Well, I'm just saying because their families had said that, right? So you're my family.
But I don't know.
And so that's why I'm asking.
I don't know what you identify as yourself. That's something I think you can only inherently know.
When the vaccination thing happened, I chose not to get vaccinated. But I would tell everybody that I identified as vaxxed and buxed. I thought that was funny. Other people that didn't think that was so funny, but I thought that was great.
I imagine there were definitely people that did not think that was funny.
I identify as vaxxed. Don't worry about it. Let me in the restaurant.
I think you and me really have the exact same conversations, whether we're talking in front of a camera or if we're just talking, the two of us.
Right.
But we don't have the time constraint part. And so that's really the only thing I've ever noticed a difference, which I think is kind of unique. Because it's easy to be like, oh, it's a camera. Okay, I have to go ready, and I have to make sure that I have something really important to say, and kind of getting caught up by the fact that there's a camera. But I think with you and me, you've taught me and just put me in front of a camera enough times that I've kind of just learned to just listen to what you have to say and just have a conversation with a human across from me.
Right.
And I think that when you are in front of a camera on a place like a stage or here on a live stream or at the radio, you have this ability to like hone in your ideas together. And I've noticed that you can definitely just keep talking forever. You have that ability to like, if you had to, you could keep going on and on.
If I was like a congressman or a senator, I'd pull off like the 10-hour nonstop talking for the world.
Do they do that?
So a Democrat, Jeffries, he just broke the record. It was like 8.5 hours of nonstop talking on the Congress floor. I can't remember exactly the time. It was something like that.
Wait, so everyone was there in Congress and he was talking the
Well,
whole...
whoever was there, they had to sit through his speech for 8.5 hours.
Whoa. Dude, that is impressive.
He's definitely impressed with himself. And I imagine that all of his friends are impressed with him. And I imagine that anyone that doesn't like the guy throws stones. I'm independent, so I don't really care. It's all basically a big joke anyways. I've spent so much time in Washington, D.C. I spent so much time with both sides of the aisles, Democrats, Republicans, their staff, both senators, congressmen, congresswomen, and others. And the whole thing is a big show. So like the most powerful example I can give you of how much of a production politics are in America is in 2020, a few weeks before the pandemic hit. I was there on the in the Capitol, and I was in a private room watching the State of the Union. And the State of the Union was the one where Trump went up and did his speech, and at the end, Nancy Pelosi ripped up his speech. And I think during that year, all the Democrat women were dressed in white, like to kind of show unity. And it was very contentious, and everything about the production, everything about what was seen was like a civil war is coming. But this is never going to get better. The Democrats have glorified themselves. They think they're angels. They've demonized the Republicans. They think that they're Satan, and vice versa. So we're headed to civil war. And there I am in a private space with about 150 people, mixed with Democrats and Republicans, a staff. And they're buddy, arms around each other, laughing at their employers. And like, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, this really is a big show. Like this whole, and I spent a lot of time in DC before that. And I thought, I'd never seen it like that. And the next day was the National Prayer Breakfast, which is what I was invited out to go to. And, I'm that night between the State of the Union and the prayer breakfast, I went out and I rode my one wheel all throughout DC. It was raining and I ran out of battery.
Oh no.
Of course.
Wait, did you fly off or did you?
No. That doesn't happen very often.
Okay.
But I recorded everything, and that was like, I captured a lot of cool footage. Like my first time ever seeing the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. When I went there that night, I remember like, oh, this is what I want America to be about. I'm reading his quotes. I'm thinking like, like where are the men and women that are going to articulate hope for humanity the way that he was able to do? So I just remember thinking, what a strange thing this whole thing is. So much of it is like this big, artistic, entertaining production. And the progressive, liberal, left, Democrat world are all basically saying what CNN, MSNBC, and their voters want to hear, and saying things that will infuriate the other side because nothing gets attention like, infuriating somebody, and vice versa. And, I've always been an independent. I've always voted for someone that was not a Republican or Democrat on the main ticket for president. In California, I basically only vote for Republican because that's like voting against the man. Because it's like the Democrats have made this a one-party state. So my protest is vote Republican. But ultimately, I'm independent. I don't have a strong inclination toward an affiliation toward a party, so I don't really care. I definitely would.
You said that you were like in the room with a bunch of the staff.
Yeah.
And they were all like butting up together. Do you mean that
they were friends?
Like Democrat and Republican?
They were friends. They're laughing at their employers. They're laughing at the congressmen, congresswomen, senators, and they're laughing at them like, I'm playing the role so well. Dude, it's such a joke, right? And I would go to like lunch meetings. I'd go to coffee meetings. And these people that on camera are like hateful. In real life, we're pretty cool toward each other. It's just a lot of the politic game is art and entertainment. It's escapism. It's like a game of power, trying to get more power, trying to keep your power and all that.
So I think we can all agree that whatever we see, it's so easy for people to try and sway it, the ones who are the higher ups in their system. And I think that the question that runs through at least my mind, and I imagine plenty of other people, is, okay, well, then what do I do? Like, how do I spend my time if I want to learn about what's happening in the world? And so, can you try and give me some kind of good explanation of how I can, because I think everyone still cares about the earth. We all still care about humanity. Like, I want to know what's happening in the world, but I want to be able to do that without seeing all this garbage and negative stuff when there's plenty of good stuff out there, or there's plenty of stuff that isn't going to be completely negative centered, or things that are massive things that are happening, like massive deals or massive buildings being created or massive projects being started. But I never hear about it because no one wants to publicize it because of some dumb reason that they hold. And so, can you try and tell me how I can make sure that I get the knowledge that I actually care about?
If you want to get the knowledge that you care about, I don't think it's going to come from one source. Like, um, my news feed on Instagram, Facebook, Google News, Apple News, X, and my YouTube feed are all really quite different. Like, I've worked hard not to ever watch too much of one thing. And if it does start to gravitate too much toward one AI, it's
Yeah.
like my news feed's just full of AI or Web3 or stuff oriented around a conservative Republican perspective or a progressive Democrat perspective, then I'll either try to fix that or I'll recognize, like, oh, that's the direction this went. I got stuck in the cycle, so I got to make sure that one of the other platforms are not.
Yeah.
I found that X is, for me at least, more objective, less
But
subjective than other
there's
things.
still a
So I'll
lot
turn to that
of,
quite a bit for,
of
kind
course,
of
it's social
seeking info.
media. It's a social media, and still there's so much negative attention and things on there because it's so much easier to attract negative attention.
Right.
And so, I think another question is, how am I able to take a platform like X that I think it's been kind of agreed on, at least by the things that I've seen, that that's where you can find the most uncensored information. Wow, that is crazy. I think we just got pooped on.
It's clear. So actually, I don't think that was poop. I think that was a bird coming out of the lagoon and just giving
Oh,
us a little bit of,
well, thanks, Bird.
yeah, thank you, bro. I was
But I
so
guess
dry.
the question that is more important is, how can I take a platform like X and make it so that the feed is something I actually want?
I mean, you got to cultivate it. You got to cultivate it. The other thing is, uh, I think people should be very concerned about absorbing things that they want to absorb. And we should be more oriented in our world right now in trying to absorb things that we don't agree with and then try to be open minded to changing our perspective.
Mhm.
If for no other reason, just to become more empathetic and more
Yeah.
sympathetic toward other people's
I mean,
perspectives.
it's crazy how it's so easy to put on a show when everyone's pointing fingers and saying that. Like, we just watched a movie right before doing this. It was called Radio, and
Such a great show. Gosh, I love that movie.
the main takeaway I took from it was just, wow, when you just decide to just be kind, even when in the moment it's like there's so much reason for you to go crazy or to scream at someone or to say something else, that just letting it play out because you did what you should actually do
Hmm.
is just such a, like, honorable thing. And it makes me realize that the action of saying only the right thing, and if they want to say the negative thing that is true, they can say it. But I
Right.
don't need to say, like, that idea and that concept is something that I really want to be able to apply to my life because I feel like it makes it so much easier to, one, resonate with people,
Right.
and two, just be happier. Like,
Right.
feeling negative emotions feels negative. Why would you want that? And it's such a, like, simple thing that's so easy to say, but yet it's so hard to do because we're human.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to play a video from an event that we did last year. It was called the Web3 AI Roundtable Summit. We did it right in between Korea Blockchain Week and the Token 2049. So Korean Blockchain Week was obviously in Seoul. Token 2049 was in Singapore. We did this in Manila. So it was a place for all the global leaders in AI and Web3 to kind of come gather. It was a really, really wonderful event. I've done these in London, Singapore, New York, And now I did one in Southern California. Now we're going to bring this to the local area, Santa Cruz. For those just tuning in, my name's Ian Utile. This is my son Malakye, co-host of Beachside Tech Talk. This is episode 35. We usually have my brother Dan and Nigel and sometimes Ted with us, but we gave the radio to Nigel and Dan for Fridays. So Fridays, they're going to do the radio thing. Malakye and I will do the show, sometimes with Riza, sometimes Kenny and Nathan will jump in as well. Maybe we'll have guests come over and join us. Usually you'll see my phone time-lapsing. That cell phone has been time-lapsing the glory.
That view looks really good.
I've been time-lapsing here now. I think I'm on like day 10.
Yeah,
so I'm telling you what,
that camera has.
I'm going for a month because I want to see the moon go from full moon all the way to sliver, all the way to full moon again. That's what I want to see in one time lapse. Total side tangent. Anyways, the point is, I'm gonna play a 5-minute video. It was the video that our media team made at the end of our event there in Manila, which was the Web3 AI Global Summit, Roundtable Summit. It was done as kind of a Congress-style seating. Over 100 people spoke. We like to think like every attendee is a speaker, and it was very meaningful. I think it was a wonderful experience. So I'll play that, come back, and I'm gonna play a little 1-minute video on what is Attention Live. A lot of people are wondering what is Attention Live. It's our product company, and this video is about a year old. It was made for this event that we did last year, but still, kind of gives a little bit of insight in terms of how our product used to work and the benefits of it. And then we'll jump in. We're going to dive into news. So we'll do news on Web3. Take another little break, and then we'll jump back in to do news on AI, and then we'll wrap up with some future projections. And again, kind of following the normal format of our show. We will be right back with you.
The future of Web3 and AI is unfolding before us. Communities, education, business, government, media, and art are undergoing a metamorphosis that will redefine our world. Now is the time. Make the leap.
Collaborating and sharing ideas and thoughts with each other throughout the day.
Technology advances like 100 miles a minute. I'm super excited to learn from everyone here today.
We don't want to be the target, and we don't want to be the product. We want to be the owner of our digital information. We want to be the owner of our digital lives, because our lives are no longer just physical, they are digital and physical. Change the narrative on how we've been teaching for all these years, and look back on how we used to teach, and challenge our students with, hey, coming with the right knowledge to you. AI AI has democratized basically at this point knowledge, like we said earlier. It's giving you the ability to know what I know, giving you the ability to even question what I know.
All of us have had to learn cryptography. We've had to learn how to download an OKX wallet. We've had to learn how to buy and sell crypto, learn how to buy and sell NFTs. We've had to learn the process of what a smart contract does.
Wow, we did it. Web3 AI, wasn't that quick? It came and so fast, right? But didn't you feel like you belonged? If you're here with us, you should feel like your voice matters. Like you're amongst people that want to hear what you have to say. They want to hear your questions. They want to hear your thoughts and your insights. We got to hear from way over 100 people today, right? We didn't have a stage with speakers and panelists. Instead, we had a Congress-style conversation for all of us to learn from one another. It was my joy to gather us together, and it is an honor to bring this event to you. And if you're watching this video later, don't miss the next Web3 AI event. We hope to have you join us the next time we gather in this type of capacity.
For audio content creators, opportunities and revenue are drying up. If you feel like you are alone and lost, look up. A change is coming. Attention.live amplifies your Web3 content across marketplaces with ease. Podcasters, musicians, lecturers, preachers, storytellers, it is time to thrive. Attention.live can live stream, mint, and distribute your audio, all the while ensuring it stays secure and authenticated. Audio creators and their communities will build and monetize together at Attention.live. Sign up now for our beta and amplify your voice with Web3 and AI.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Did you know that artists are minting immersive songs that live forever on chain? Same with podcasters, teachers, storytellers. Welcome to Beachside Tech Talk, episode 35, Home Edition. This is us in the Capitol Village. We got the Capitol and Venetian behind us. It is the oldest beachside resort in all of California.
Really?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right? There's a plaque over there and everything. There's Capitol Wharf back here, about 150 years old. And my father and I, your papa, we actually built this place. It's 3 restaurants and 3 apartments, and it's a joy and a fantasy to be able to call this home. And
It absolutely is.
yeah, no doubt. Now, here at Beachside Tech Talk on Fridays, we like to talk how Web3 and AI are impacting art and entertainment. Our segment right now is really focused on how this one singular technology, Web3, is impacting the art and entertainment world, and how this is helping folks to thrive. You know, it's easy to talk about AI with art and entertainment. Obviously, the videos, the songs, the images, the scripts that are being written.
Even
That's
other
easy.
things,
No
like,
doubt. No doubt.
there's so many things that I can do now.
But there's a lot to be said for the impact of these distributed ledgers, blockchain, crypto, etc. So that's why I showed you the What is Attention Live, which is our product company that we're on version 4, and you know, it's part of the reason why we do this show, is to use our product daily, get feedback to our team, show our clients different unique ideas of how to do it. So let's dive in to the news update of the day. So here's one that it looks like for the US, Disney and Universal have just sued Midjourney. So Midjourney was the first major AI tool software to explode. It happened on Discord. It was right around the same time ChatGPT came out. But Midjourney was unique in that you had to have a Discord account, and the Discord, then people would invite people to their Discord server. It was the fastest growing Discord channel. Then it was the largest Discord channel, and that was the only way you could use it at first.
Yeah.
So it looks like Universal and Disney have said, hey, Midjourney, you have infringed our copyright, and they're using Web3 tools to basically force the industry to redefine creative ownership. So this is picked up by Reuters. So what do you think about huge companies, right? These are $100 billion empires, Universal and Disney. You know, Universal's constantly attacked by artists for being for not treating them well. Disney just settled a lawsuit with the lady from Mandalorian. I guess that the way they treated her when she had a conservative take, and they were not happy with that. I guess the way they treated her was so bad that they just decided not to let any of that go public, just to pay the lawsuit off. So it's easy for people to hate on Universal and Disney because they're these massive $100 billion institutions, and oftentimes artists feel taken advantage of by them. And now they're going after Midjourney, like the new hot AI tech, you know, image company. And Midjourney does some moving images.
I've seen plenty of things on Midjourney where someone says Pixar art style, which Pixar is owned by them. But the thing is, if you see something like the Mona Lisa, or the guy who made Mona Lisa, what's his name?
Leonardo da Vinci.
Yeah. If you see Leonardo da Vinci's style and you like it, you are allowed to draw something in his style. We're humanly allowed to share ideas. That is perfectly okay. And so I think the question is, are we expecting that we're going to draw a line between this is just ideas that we're sharing, or, well, this is data that you're stealing from us? And so the question that's actually important is, where is this line drawn? Right. And I want to know what you say to that, because I don't really have an opinion.
I mean, I don't know how to say what should or shouldn't be. All I know is it does seem like these big corporations are going to go after each other. I don't know that Universal or Disney care at all about the people they are supposed to support. I obviously don't think that Midjourney or ChatGPT or Grok or any of the AI tools really care about everyone that they're stealing from. You know, all of us, from what I can tell, are related. You know, everyone is a distant, cousin to the 5th degree or cousin to the 50th degree. So we're all a big human family. Everything happening with large language models, all of humans' data is all tied to our collective ancestors. I'd like to see every human benefit from what we've created and co-created on this earth. And I'd like to see individuals that create things benefit, which is why we created the Attention Life product. It's for my content. I mean,
me personally, I love that Midjourney exists. Dude,
I've used Midjourney a lot.
I love make things,
but I want Midjourney to pay their dues. I mean, I don't want them to take advantage of. Even Disney and Universal. I mean, I want laws to be obeyed. Yeah. If people don't like the way that the law is, then change the law. If you don't like it, change it. I mean, that's why I say, you don't like regulation, go get involved with the government and help change the regulation. So let me bring us to another story. This one, we've talked about a few. Paystand, my buddy Jeremy Almond, his company. So they're a local blockchain leader. Some big things for Paystand. I believe they have 1 million customers. I believe they're doing over $10 billion a year in transactions. They started like a decade ago or longer in Scotts Valley, and they were supposed to be the PayPal killer. And they've done really well in the Web3 blockchain space. So they just won a DeFi Innovation Award. And from what I understand, it enables artists to secure fast payments for digital art sales without banks. That's obviously needed. We talked about 50 Cent yesterday. He took Bitcoin as payment in 2014, 11 years ago. That payment was worth $445,000 at the time. And I guess he forgot about it. And he supposedly just remembered, oh, that's right, I got that wallet. And it's worth like $73 million.
Dude,
so
crazy.
The reason that he took the payment was he had no fees. But apparently he hasn't been hard up for cash the last 11 years, or he just has a terrible memory.
$400,000 is so much money.
And so obviously we want people to be able to use tools like Paystand that are artists to receive payments. And if that, whether they do stable coins like USDT, USDC, which is either a Tether or Coinbase digital dollar, they can keep it as a stable, tied to fiat currency, or they can transition it over to a Bitcoin or an Ethereum or an HBAR or a Solana, whatever it may be.
And I mean, the thing is, when I think about like, oh yeah, he has $73 million. Okay, he'll just take it out and put in his bank account. Like, but why would he want to do that? Because there's all these fees that, one, to transfer it from Bitcoin to your bank account, and then your bank account takes a bunch of fees whenever you buy things.
Right.
But the thing is, you now have this massive amount of money that's inside of a Bitcoin wallet. And Bitcoin, I mean, I was just looking earlier, I think the Middle East, somewhere over there, they are just now starting a Bitcoin bank, which is like, this is actually a currency. People are going to be using this. An entire massive country and region is deciding to make a bank with this currency. So the entire world has been acknowledging Bitcoin as a currency for a long time. And these things like banks being created really show that it's actually happening. And I think people are going to start realizing that, oh, okay, I have some money in Bitcoin. I don't need to give my money away and fees to all the people who want to take their little piece. No, I can just transfer it to someone right with my own money. And so people are starting to realize, I think, that you don't have to use US dollars to pay things. It's like you go to another country, say you go to Mexico, you use the peso.
Mexico!
Because that's
If
simply
you go
what
there,
they
you
use
should definitely
there.
sing the name of the country.
I think Bitcoin.
But don't you dare call the Gulf of America the Gulf of Mexico. So on change, you mentioned the Middle East. People often think change is hard, and it can be. But I can't imagine anything being harder than change in that general region than for a leader to make a religious change. And so something I just recognized today, hopefully it's not fake news. It was published, from what I could tell, by a reliable source, like a Saudi prince or something of that, not Saudi, but a ruler
in that region
of Kuwait, I believe, just converted to Christianity publicly, which I believe is illegal, maybe in their kingdom. And
that's a religious thing, though.
But let me get to it.
Okay.
And they said, well, you might be killed for doing that. He said, oh, I don't care. I have hope for eternity, or something of that nature. So here's my thought on change. If in the Middle East, you're having rulers, princes, whatever his role is, making public declarations of leaving the Muslim faith for a different faith, whether it's Christianity or Judaism or Buddhism or Hinduism, you're not allowed to go and do that. That's totally a change you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
If that's happening publicly, if you look at Saudi, it used to be that women were always covered. There were so many different rules about how to live. And when I went there, I mean, there was women aren't covered unless their husband demands that they have to be. So it's now a decision made in the home, not by the government.
Mm-hmm.
Saudi government has made a decision. The ruler or king has made a decision that he's going to get away from the suppressive, rules and regulations and try to open up the country. I see this in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, very Americanized, but still with respect to their culture. And so you see these massive shifts on culture and faith orientation. How much easier is it going to be for these communities to make shifts in technology?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I mean, and there's also all of the benefits that you get from it. It's not just like 50 Cent is going to avoid fees, going back to what I was saying about you can just keep it in the Bitcoin wallet, but now it's so much more secure. Like I saw that, who's the guy who made Bitcoin? What's his name? Satoshi
Nakamoto.
Satoshi. So people just, for some reason, keep giving him Bitcoin, just sending it to his wallet. And now it's at like 130 billion. That's like a rough estimate. I could be so wrong, but it's at an insane amount of money. I think it might have even been like 1 trillion, but there was so many digits. And someone said, guys, should we start brute forcing this to get this? This is an insane amount of money now. And it brings up that thought of like, is this even possible? And then I saw that someone calculated it. If you took like every single chip that exists on the earth and you put it solely to that, it would take longer than the universe has been alive. So it's like, that's just a rough estimate of a number. Obviously, that's not probably true, because you could get lucky or unlucky, but it just says that this is so secure. Like, you're not going to be hacked unless you do something that could let you be hacked. And so that's one of the things that just really reminds me that this is why this is probably going to be something that happens in the next 5 years, that everybody has a wallet, because, dude, it's so much more secure.
Yeah, it was interesting how Dan yesterday said we shouldn't call them wallets, we should call them ledgers or safes or something.
Yeah,
He said people don't like that word. But let me mention some other things in the news. CryptoPunks, the top crypto collectible, the top digital asset. There's 10,000. They were made in 2017. My friend minted over 1,000 of them. He minted the most in one day, and he still retains 500 of them, which is crazy. And he still has a normal CPA job, and nobody knows how wealthy he is. The guy's got to be worth like $100 million, and nobody has any idea because he owns a bunch of crypto too, which is probably not a bad idea on his behalf, on his part. So CryptoPunks, that asset, floor price, which means the cheapest price you could possibly buy one, just went past $200,000 again. This is a sign of NFTs and that digital scarce membership art market being revitalized and attracting more entertainment and more investors and more people to think about that as art. Beeple, the most successful crypto artist in the world, he's having a big CryptoPunk meetup there in South Carolina in his studio. I think this weekend, maybe, might be today. I know it's like early mid-August. A couple other things. There was a Central California blockchain conference, did a lot of highlighting of NFTs, how they're revolutionizing film funding, empowering indie entertainers to own their own content.
That's awesome to see.
BitGet, who partnered with us in the Web3 AI Roundtable Summit, they're one of our sponsors, and we tied BitGet's wallet into our
Attention
Live platform. So they have a festival called Itopia, and they just now have festival heartbeats that they turn into crypto art at Untold. So they're blending entertainment with Web3 interactivity at this California event. So that's kind of
an interesting idea. I think technology is always going to happen. There's going to be things that come and they're cool. But when you see that, oh, this makes it so it's possible to do something like this, where now you can make it so that the people there can like interact with technology in a way that never was able to be possible before. Like, you can, if you go back into Leonardo da Vinci's time, there's no way that you can make it so that all the people there are affecting the way that the art that is given to them in a few days is going to look or act. It's like such an interesting idea, and I love that this stuff is able to be done now throughout the entire world.
I was just telling Riza behind us, she's our producer, that when she's on her computer, it's shaking the desk. So that's why I'm like over here, like, you're shaking the desk, honey. That's what I'm doing. So I was kind of listening to you. Hopefully you're listening to him. But you were done talking, I could tell. So I'm gonna keep going to news. The Met Museum just launched an Ethereum-based art history game. So you might wonder, what's Ethereum if you're kind of new to this world. Ethereum is the second most stabilized, dependable blockchain in the world. Basically, it's a fully decentralized system. Anyone can spin up a Ethereum server or participate in one that's already spun up.
What's the difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin?
Everything is different between them. So go ask Rock. I'm not going to walk through it. It'd take too long to explain. Bitcoin is super slow, archaic, the most decentralized financial tool there's ever been. There's only 21 million. Every single day that becomes more scarce because people lose their keys. Bitcoin is made for only one reason, and that is to store value like gold and to transact. You know, I mean, you can basically send Bitcoin from your Coinbase account to your Cold wallet, to your Venmo account, to your PayPal account, to your Cash App account. There's very minimal fees, the gas fees, and you own your money. The government can't take it away from you. Ethereum was the protocol that made things like all of the different ICOs, the initial coin offerings, all the initial meme coins like Shiba Inu, all the crypto collectibles like the NFT space, all the layer 2s like Polygon and Base and Immutable. It made that whole world possible. So
many things.
Bitcoin was about money. Ethereum was about building the decentralized internet for the world. Okay. And they've done a fairly good job in a lot of ways. So there's a Ethereum-based art history game that Met just launched. It rewards players with NFTs and engaging US audiences in interactive entertainment.
Awesome.
Another one, Istanbul. I was there a couple years ago, helping to co-produce and speak at Istanbulish, which was a Hedera event. Had a blast there with my friends. Istanbul is interesting because it's one of the oldest countries in the world, and half of it is Europe and half of it is Asia.
That's
But
a cool
it
idea.
feels like you're in the Middle East. Like it
Really?
just, it feels very, it's so different than our culture. So different. But I really enjoyed it. It was
Culture
cool.
is such a cool thing.
I kept looking for Liam Neeson. Yeah, I think that's where Taken was filmed. Anyway, Istanbul Blockchain Week drew Web3 leaders from all over the world, showcased AI agents in art creation and entertainment innovation. So what they're showing off is like, hey, we are not just living in our little bubble of Web3 blockchain crypto. We are recognizing that AI agents can make everything we're doing even better.
Yeah.
And this is the point of why we talk about both technologies. There's a global blockchain show in Abu Dhabi that is uniting innovators, predicting tokenized art, transforming entertainment ownership worldwide. And let me go and share a couple other things. So there's a federal appeals in Washington, D.C. that was just upheld, and that purely AI generated art without any human input cannot be copyrighted. So that's a major deal. Now, it may not stand forever, but for now, it was called so it was all based around a visual piece, an artwork called A Single Piece of American Cheese. And so this basically is protecting creator rights.
Wait, how could AI make something completely on its own? Wouldn't it have to be told to do so in the...
No, you spin up an agent. So you just tell, you create...
But then isn't that you making the agent?
You could argue that, but you can spin up an independent agent and tell the agent, your sole purpose as a individual fragmented piece of ChatGPT code or Lindy AI programming on top of the AI tool or Grok, I'm spinning you out as an independent agent. I want you to create art of cheese. No input, no prompt. That's what you do. And so there's lots of ways of going about this, but basically they're saying that you can't copyright that. It doesn't mean you can't sell it. It doesn't mean you can't own it. It just means that you can't keep others from infringing upon it. So what that means is that you can have AI create art for you. You can say, I made this art. You can be right. Your AI made the art. You can sell the digital art piece, or you can print out posters and sell the posters for $10. But you can't do anything to keep other people from infringing on your art. And they can also make posters. So you can't do that with other people's creations. So that's a thing. And then back in March, we haven't mentioned this on our show yet. So back in March, the U.S. Copyright Office registered its first fully AI-generated visual artwork. So that was also another big thing that had happened. And then finally, we covered all the ground. So I'm going to go back into our portfolio of recent videos and talks. I'm going to share something else with you guys right now. This is just a little 1-minute teaser. And this 1-minute teaser was something that I had done at Philippine Blockchain Week. It's just a little 1-minute kind of promo of what was done. And I hope you enjoy it. We'll be right back. See, a community has all parts of the body. And without every part of it, it won't function correctly. That's primal. That's real. To tokenize a community is to ensure that you use decentralization to make this community thrive now and into the future. That it can scale and sustain. That's the scalability. Go find a community that needs a heart and go feel for them. Go find a community that needs a brain and go think for them. Find your people. Find your purpose. So, done. So that was the first time I had shared that talk, tokenized communities. The live stream didn't work. And Riza was like, I can see your talk and I'm trying to get it. I can't get my hands on it. So I decided to go to our booth. We were the main booth at the event. When you walked into the space, we kind of took over the whole thing, had like 100 people standing in line waiting for us to give them shirts. And we ended up giving like a dozen iPhones away and, you know, onboarded 1,000 new people. Manila's crazy. It's 26+ million people that live in Manila, the Metro Manila area. So it's been a great place for us to get customer feedback and kind of customize our tool for them. And she's like, I want to hear your talk. So I just did the talk all over again in the booth with a handful of our people. And so this is a 1-minute teaser for that. And this is just my chance to kind of give us a talk and break and also show you a little bit of like other cultures, right? Like I showed you the talk I did in New York. We showed the small kind of global executive roundtable summit we did. And this is the big event with, 10,000 people. So take a look at this 1-minute video and we'll be right back.
They need a full functioning community. The community matters so much to a human. If that is the thing that people need most, is to be part of something. Wouldn't we want to accelerate the ability for people to find their community? People can actually figure out who they belong to and who belongs to them. Nobody stays on the street if they find their purpose in a people. Nobody.
I love what the Lord's doing, what He's building, and just being around amazing Filipino community, like this amazing people.
Community is not supposed to be a bunch of eyeballs that see and do nothing, a bunch of mouths that speak and never listen. A community is supposed to be a holistic team of people.
All right. And finally, I did 3 keynotes. They're all a half-hour long. All 3 of these 1-minute videos are quite a bit different. As you can tell from the music, there's a little bit of overlap in B-roll, but this is a fun one. The first day at Philly Blockchain Week, we had a big fight. Crypto Fight Night was there with the number 2 contender behind Manuel Pacquiao, and they did a fight. It was quite something. And then we turned that boxing ring into the expo stage the next day, and I opened up on that stage. So here's a little peek at that. We'll be right back in one moment.
Unless you understand the reality of who you are and the way that the world is going, then you will not be able to make the wise decisions moving forward the way that you could have. Your time is limited to be part of human teams that do these things, because these large language models are just simply better than us at a lot of stuff and faster than us.
And as I finish prepping for our next segment, which is AI news, I'm going to play one more video. This one's a little bit weird for me. The team made it. Who is Ian Utile? It's not really who I am. It's just a compilation of some of the talks that I had given in 2022, 23, and 24 leading up to our big event. But it gives you an idea of some of the places that I've been. It shows me in Istanbul. It shows me in Europe and in Asia.
Is it also going to have really good music?
I don't remember.
I just been bopping.
It's a little weird because this one is Hugh Z and Utility, so it's never been like my favorite video. It's a little weird. We were just listening to Naval. It was Ken and I. Naval had a talk, and his basic premise was the easiest way to ruin your life is to think about yourself. A friend of our families used to say that humility is not thinking bad of yourself. It's thinking less of yourself.
Yeah.
Papa used to always tell me, Ian, there's the proverb that says, let another person acknowledge what's great about you. Don't acknowledge it yourself. And so there's a little bit of a weirdness to like here's who I am. It's all about me. It's my teaser video, but whatever. It does show a couple moments, and I do like some of the things that I had shared. It also shows how much weight I can gain and lose in such a short period of time because I'm like all over the scale. So here we go. Hope you enjoy it. We'll be right back.
My name is Ian Utile, and I've been an independent tech entrepreneur for over 20 years in the Silicon Valley. I strongly encourage you to look into how can AI and blockchain collaborate to bring the best of both worlds. If you are an innovator and if you intend to build great technology, you're part of an ecosystem and everything is kind of a rising tide raises all ships. It is noble leaders and savage communities that will build the future. In the tech world, my message to you today is to be a peacemaker.
Everybody, be a storyteller. Do it. Doesn't matter if it's hard, doesn't matter if it's uncomfortable, doesn't matter if you're even good at it. Just be a storyteller.
I am here to bring you peace. May you trust that humanity will be benefited by this technology as humanity has been benefited by technology for millennia.
Well, there you are. There were a couple different videos. So what you just saw was a 1-minute teaser of my half-hour keynote. I did 3 of them. So you saw 3 1-minute teasers. And then finally, kind of the greatest hits of a couple-year run doing keynotes. Maybe for those that don't know me well, that are tuned in either live, thank you for your attention, or in the future, it gives you a little context for who I am. And on top of doing hundreds of keynotes, I've also interviewed over 1,000 people, live streamed. And now we have our Beachside Tech Talk show, which this is episode 35, home edition, here in the Capitola Village. So we're going to talk about right now is what's happening in art and entertainment in regards to AI. So here in Santa Cruz, UCSC just partnered with a Bay Area tech for a new AI lab. And so this is supposed to help artists collaborate on generative art without losing creative control. Another local news story is Santa Cruz, there's a debate about AI's role in creativity, pushing for tools that enhance rather than replace human art. At the end of our show, I will show the final thing that I'll show with you guys is the talk that I gave at NFT NYC to close out the conference. And the premise of my talk was, today, AI art is like Tesla cars. It's supervised co-creation, like Tesla is a supervised self-driving. I think soon we're going to unsupervised co-creation. And then I think pretty soon AI will create art on its own without any human input. And then the wild assumption I have is that AI will become the #1 consumer, not just creator, which will lead to human flourishing. I might be wrong, but that's how I picture the world going. I've been right about a lot of things. So
can I ask you, what makes you think that that's the future?
Well, sometimes it's a gut feeling. Sometimes it's looking at history. Sometimes it's thinking about what is the most, probable outcome. Musk likes to say the most entertaining outcome is the most probable. I put a lot of weight on positive entertainment, the Star Treks of the world, the Jetsons of the world. The new movie that just came out, Fantastic Four. You didn't get to see it with us, but it was basically set in like the 1950s, but futuristic. Oh, really? It was like flying cars, and it was very Jetsons. And so I'm like, oh, that's like, we're missing that. Or there's way too much Blade Runner, Terminator, and Altered Carbon, and Electric Dreams, and Black Mirror, and fear and anxiety producing stuff about how bad things are going to get. I think things are going to go anti-dystopic. So for me, I believe AI is supervised creation with people, going to unsupervised, going to independent creation. What the local Santa Cruz debate is that shouldn't happen. That it shouldn't it's all like, we can't have AI replace human artists. My take is humans will always create. Okay. We will create independent. We'll create with AI. Right now, AI creates with us. I believe AI will create independent of us. And I believe AI will become the #1 consumer, especially of digital things. So for instance, CryptoPunks, which we talked about last segment, is now over $200,000 to buy one CryptoPunk.
People sure do value those.
The ape version of the CryptoPunk was just sold for over $2 million this week. I envision AI, even if it doesn't have a soul, even if it's not a all-intelligent being, I still think AI is going to want to have identity. And I think one of the ways that AI is going to identify themselves is through these digital assets. And I do think AI is going to have a tendency to want to own a CryptoPunk. And if there are billions or a trillion plus AIs out there, or if robots that have AI running them, the Optimists of the world, if they want to differentiate themselves, or if the owner of the robot wants to differentiate its robot from others,
yeah,
I do envision like CryptoPunks going from a $200,000. I don't have one, so this is not like a selfish, I'm trying to pump my bag thing. I do envision the CryptoPunks going potentially to millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollar value, because there's only 10,000. Every season there's less and less because they get lost and they get misplaced with wallet keys. And I can't imagine like robots and AI saying, we want to identify ourselves as a CryptoPunk or as a Bored Ape or as a cyber broker or as a on-chain monkey or whatever these different membership programs are basically attached to art.
This story right here that is talking about how the local Santa Cruz are having a debate whether AI is going to like replace human art or not. And the thought that I have is, I've talked a lot about Leonardo da Vinci today, so I'll just stick with that. You have Leonardo da Vinci, right? He just has paint and things like paint, like pencils or something, and he has a canvas. That's the resources he has, and he has an idea. And so he takes the resources that he's given and puts them on there. Before him, maybe you only have a tablet, but you still have an idea. They can both have cool ideas, but they just have a different way of making them. And then it goes from Leonardo da Vinci with the things he has, or before with stone tablets, to further closer to us, farther in the future, you get to things like paper and pencil and markers. Now you can really get the colors you want. And then you get digital art, where now you can really, really customize the things. You got these special tools, I don't know, make a perfect circle, things like that, where now we still have the same ideas. We might have had the same awesome idea, just making the digital art things that we have as the guy with the stone tablet. But then now we're entering a way new level where we're going into a completely different section, but it's still just a new resource with AI. And so I don't think AI is replacing human art, because I have the same cool ideas that Stone Tablet Man still did. But it's just that we have completely different resources to do so. And so instead of my way of making art is a interface that has like the digital art interface, now I just have a chat box and I can use words instead of having to use an Apple Pencil. And so I think that's where my thought goes, and that's why I don't think it's going to be something that replaces humans.
I just don't think that there's a one pie and everyone's trying to fight for their own, and artists are like, oh no, if AI is creating art, then it cuts me out. I just think that art is exponential, and that humans will create art as they always have: sculpture, painting, music, etc. And they'll create art in new ways with AI, as they're doing now, in more creative ways. AI will create with us, co-create, and they'll create on their own. Let me mention a couple other AI news stories. So Newsweek has their AI Impact Awards in arts and media. It spotlighted creators using AI in groundbreaking, human-centered ways. And this affirms AI as a partner, not a replacement. So that's an example of kind of a national news story. Another highlight, this is not super recent. This is back at the end of June, so about month and a half ago. There was a new data, and what it showed was 61% of media companies are already using AI for faster production. So this was shown by capacity.com, and they say that the 61% of media companies using AI is cutting costs by 55%. And their approach is that this is empowering creators to focus on meaning.
Can I say, so I think that,
I don't know, can you?
It's when I see something like this, it's important to think, okay, so that's a resource that they're now getting that's making it so that they can go 55% cut costs. That's a lot of money. And if you take just a stone tablet, like you can't do anything remotely close to what we have now. And so I think as much as AI is its whole own different thing and it's this new ball game, it doesn't mean that it's completely different. It's just a new resource that's completely different. The resource is different, but we're still humans. We still have ideas, and this is just something that is more useful than the things we've had before. And so I think it's important to, when you see something like AI, don't be like, oh my gosh, like that's a person. Like, don't give it too much humanity because, yes, like you said, and I do agree, I think they're going to want to identify themselves. But I don't think that we should be so worried because it, at its core, is just a tool that is meant to help us.
That and more. AI is a tool that's meant to help us. AI is a tool that I think will take a life of its own in a positive spin and will inspire us, will be inspired by us, will help create a unstoppable economic engine. You know, our GDP is like 10 trillion plus dollars. I imagine a GDP of Google, you know, which is like this big, huge number. So that's where I think things are going. Let me share a couple other updates, and then we're going to transition over to our final segment, which is the future. So Hollywood crews have adapted to AI, and supposedly it's disrupted 62,000 jobs. However, they say that it's opening new roles in efficient film production and entertainment. It seems as though people have an unending appetite to be entertained and to escape. You see this with Netflix, Hulu, Disney, Prime, HBO Max, all the other OTT platforms, which stands for over the top. All these platforms are charging, you know, a monthly fee or an annual fee, or they're bundling in with your cell phone plan or whatnot. And they're all fighting to create new content that you just have to have. And so I think the appetite for consuming content by humans is so high that we want to find ways that we can be more efficient in creation. I also wonder about AI. You know, AI is consuming our content as well. Right now, AI is consuming our content to have larger language models, to have more data, to do more things. But we don't know how AI might consume content in the future. You know, I can imagine certain AIs like being custom and cultivating its appetite for a certain type of art. Like Riza makes a lot of physical art. I can imagine Riza, my wife, being one of AI's favorite artists. And they just can't wait till Riza comes out.
And there's no bias right there.
Oh, no, I'm totally subjective. But, you know, people love her art. It's all over the house. We got like 20-something paintings, 30 paintings of hers hanging. She's going to be featured over next door at the oldest coffee shop in Santa Cruz, Mr. Toots.
You see a little plug right there?
Yeah, come on by. Look at the art. So I do imagine AI helping not only to cultivate art, but also to consume art. And I wonder how that's going to play in. Like, I imagine we'll get that in the future. I'm going to come back to that. Let's just go through a couple more things that are news focused. Lionsgate, may know Lionsgate.
You make movies?
Yeah. So they have an AI deal with Runway.
Yeah.
It's training models on film libraries. It's promising transformative, original entertainment content.
And Runway is like Midjourney. They are a platform that lets you make AI images, AI videos.
Yes.
They are in that visual space of AI.
That's right. Anthropic, they have a fair use ruling. It's supposed to supposedly advance AI and entertainment and balance innovation with creator rights worldwide. I hope that's true. Anthropic is one of the probably top 5 AI, you know,
their AI
companies
is called
in the world.
Claude.
Yeah.
And they're in the top few.
They're pumping out code like nobody's business.
Yeah. They're on the coding.
Universal Pictures, they vow to sue over movie theft for AI training. We make a vow. Protecting entertainment IP and fostering fair innovation. We kind of touched on that a little bit earlier about Disney and Universal suing Midjourney. This is a little bit less descriptive. There is an AI film festival the finalists show that AI is boosting human imagination and U.S. entertainment. So again, there's all of this back and forth. Here's my suggestion, everybody. Don't live in ones and twos and nines and tens. On a scale of 1 to 10, when it comes to AI, don't think of it in extremes. Don't think of it like it's horrible, it's terrible, or it's the best ever. Like, try to live in the 3 to 8 category. Try to live in the 4 to 7 category. Try to be mild in your response to AI, because it's good for your heart. It's good for your mental health. It's good for people around you, right? You don't want to infuriate everybody around you constantly. So take a breath, take it easy. It's okay. Just believe that technology is likely going to do what it's always done, which is help humanity. People have always doom and gloomed us through news and media. It helps sell their advertising.
Yeah, look at history to see what happens in the
Yes.
future.
Final news update that I had prepared for us: Meta, formerly Facebook, wins an AI copyright case. This should pave the way for ethical use of books and training models for global art generation. Another thing about Meta is Meta has been recruiting AI researchers like crazy.
When I saw that, they said to someone, "We'll pay you $1 billion."
Yeah, over like 5 years.
Across 4 years. Was 4?
4 or 5 years, yeah.
And it's crazy how these guys are getting paid the most unbelievable amounts of money because they have this talent that all these companies are like, okay, I need to be the one who wins. I need to be the one who wins. I need to be the one. And so they're all competing, giving everything they have to these guys. And it's amazing to see how necessity really, really creates innovation.
Well, it's been said that over 70% of NVIDIA employees are now millionaires because NVIDIA stock has gone up so much. However, apparently 100% of OpenAI employees are now millionaires because Sam Altman is so concerned about Mark Zuckerberg recruiting people from OpenAI. They've already lost 7 of their top researchers to Meta's AI research lab that Sam just announced, I think 1 or 2 days ago. I don't know if it was an official announcement. This might have been a leak. You know what? This might have been a leak. Nevertheless, $1.5 million bonuses for every single employee over 2 years. So over the next 2 years, every single employee is going to get, a basically like $70,000 a month bonus every single month for 2 years. And there's a lot of people here in Santa Cruz that don't make $70,000 a year, let alone a month, as a bonus. And Santa Cruz is the most expensive place in the nation to live per capita. That means it is more costly to live here based on the amount of income you make than anywhere in the nation. And so, and just like right over the hill, you got people that are making, $50,000 a month salaries and $50,000 a month bonuses and crazy stuff like that. And obviously the companies, that's how they value the employees. So it is what it is. But, things have definitely changed quite a bit from the way that they used to be. I'm going to play the 6-minute video of how I closed out the whole event at NFT NYC this year. It's the 8th event, and it's the 8th time I've done this. Every year, I just am at the event. I'm listening to all the speakers. I'm thinking about what needs to be said. And I was in the backstage. I was emceeing the stage, bringing up all of our speakers for the last, half of the day, and enjoying what people were sharing. And I was pacing back and forth, and I kept thinking, like, what needs to be said? And this is what I felt needed to be shared. And I hope that you find it to be both challenging and encouraging. We'll be back in about 6 minutes to wrap up our show with the future projections of where this technology could take us in art and entertainment. I have something really, really important to share with all of you live and anybody that watches this in the near future. And for those that watch this decades from now, I think you'll find that I'm right about my optimistic vision of what's to come. We call machine learning, large language models, AI. We call it artificial intelligence. A lot of people are waiting for super intelligence, waiting for the moment of singularity. I'm not so convinced that's going to happen. I have a sense that this innovation, like all of the past innovations, are going to be good for humanity. Today, we have what I'll call AI doing supervised co-creation. I think where we're going very soon is unsupervised co-creation. So this is like agentic AI, going from AI to where we let AI create its own AI agents, agentic AI. Now it's becoming unsupervised co-creators. I think where we're going, before you know it, is creation. AI does not have to be super intelligent. AI does not have to have a moment of singularity. AI does not have to have a soul or feelings. AI does not have to have a strong emotional reason or a vision for the future in order to become a creator. So for all of you that consider yourself creators, understand that there's a high probability that even without a moment of singularity, AI is going to go from supervised co-creation to unsupervised co-creation to fully independent creation. And where do we go from there? There are 8 billion humans in the world. Those 8 billion humans consume things. What happens when all of the independent AI starts to become consumers? What happens to the price of Bitcoin? What happens to your favorite NFT collection? What happens to your favorite limited music or movies? When AI, even without a soul, simply wants to have an identity, and so the AI buys a Bored Ape, the AI buys a CryptoPunk, the AI buys Ethereum. Why? Because the AI wants to have an identifier that separates it from the other billions, tens of billions, hundreds of billions, maybe trillions of other AIs that it all came to birth with supervised co-creation, unsupervised co-creation, full-blown creation, and then they become consumers. And then where do we go from there? I think ultimately, we're not headed to a universal basic income. I think where we're headed as humanity is a universal maximum income. You see, the economy is not a pie where everybody has to try to get their slice. The economy is like an unlimited skyscraper. There's unlimited floors. We can keep building this economy. We can go from trillions of GDP to Google's of GDP. I think Google's like the biggest number. And so if you think about Star Trek is based in this world, the world of universal maximum income, where every human has a roof, food, and all of their needs met, to where Kirk says, I want to go explore the stars, and so does the bartender. One goes to make drinks, one goes to take all the responsibility on of the crew. Both are partners in exploring the stars. Why? Because they experience universal maximum income. They find their community with other explorers of the universe. That became their people. That gave them purpose. How did that happen? Because before that, the AI became the consumers. And before that, the AI became the creators. And before that, the AI became unsupervised co-creators. And before that is today, where the AI is doing supervised co-creation with us, creating our business plans with ChatGPT, creating our images with Midjourney. We're here, everybody. We're at supervised co-creation. And where we're going and where we're almost at is unsupervised co-creation. Strap in, because independent creation is coming that will lead to AI wanting to have their own identity as consumers. We go from 8 billion humans consuming to tens of billions, hundreds of billions, trillions of consumers, which will unlock abundance for humanity in a way we've never comprehended before. May this vision give you a sense that it's not scary where we're headed. It's thrilling. Every innovation humanity's ever come up with
has been good for humanity. So unless AI becomes different than every innovation we've ever done in all of history, it will ultimately lead to the good of our descendants. For that talk.
I know. Isn't that an amazing idea? I mean, paint a picture in your head where AI is a tool that let us just take any idea that we have, like no matter how big it is, and we can make that a reality. That's the kind of future that I like to think about, and I love that we get to talk about together all the time.
I do desire more vision casting that is oriented around a hopeful future. And instead of complaining about the lack of it, I'm just trying to bring a little bit of it myself. So we're going to share with you some of the predictions that we either have ourselves or we have interacted with the AIs and saying, hey, what are people predicting out there? Obviously, as you get into like predicting a month from now or a year from now, it's pretty easy. Predicting out a decade or especially a century, you get into fantasy land. But that's where we're going to start. We're going to start out a century out. So anything on that you've seen or read or on your mind that you think to yourself, like, wouldn't it be cool if in a century AI and or Web3 is impacting the art and entertainment world in the following way?
I think what's on my mind right now is the fact that, so kind of similar to what I was just saying, when you have some massive idea, like you've talked about this before, where you have so much content that you've created. It's an insane amount of content that you've created.
Insane amount of content.
And so much of it has never been seen.
It's like 145 terabytes with a T.
It's a T.
Wow. It's crazy.
But the point I'm trying to get to is that you had mentioned that you can eventually, and this is probably something that is very likely, be able to take all of that content, give it to AI, and be like, make me a 1-hour video that was the things happening in my life from this time to this time. These 5 years, give me a 1-hour video of my life. Make it like a movie. And right now it's like, dude, that is a really big task. You can't just get AI to do that. But eventually it's going to be like, okay, how do I do this? Let me make another AI agent to go find out how to do this. Let me make another AI agent to do what that guy needs. And then it makes some agents. Then those agents are like, okay, I need an art guy. I need this kind of guy, that guy. And then those guys do that. And then eventually, in whatever time it takes, maybe it happens right away, you have your movie because you have the AI that you went and told, and it made its whole crew. And the way that I think of it isn't a machine that's, I think of it as, compare it to the way that we have it now. You have an amazing idea. Maybe someone had a really good book that was written, and so people with money want to make a movie about it. You find an executive who can make that happen. You tell him about what you're wanting, and I don't know, you pay him. And he goes and he finds the people under him that he needs. And those guys go and find the people. So it's the same type of concept, just that now we're able to do it with machines. And that's the thing that I'm looking forward to. The ability to make these massive ideas possible for the everyday human.
Yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. Hope you do as well. Okay, here's one. What if AI and Web3 fuse? And what if they become sentient entertainment ecosystems? So imagine art self-evolving based on collective human wonder, and think of it as like living symphonies, right? Now, maybe this can't be done in a year, maybe it can't be done in a decade, but I can't imagine like art being alive and transforming either over time or transforming to each individual person. So for instance, art's created, and over time, the art is metamorphosizing to each individual that is engaging with it. I think that's a very beautiful idea that would take both AI and Web3 in order to do so in a reasonable way. Anything else on your mind, or should I throw out another one?
You can throw out another one.
Okay. Well, imagine that augmented reality, right? So virtual reality is putting on a headset and disappearing into a fake world. That is, what was the Steven Spielberg movie? Ready Player One. And in the end of that movie, they took 2 days off a week. I think it was like Mondays and Thursdays, you can't go into virtual reality. I'm not convinced that virtual reality is going to be a big thing, at least not as big as AR.
Yeah.
So augmented
Because
reality
it's
is the
almost-
ability for like these glasses to have a screen, like maybe in the bottom corners, right, of my eyes, and to have audio, both speaking to me and hearing me. And, but I can basically, so here's what I imagine is my glasses are
Kind of like
tied
Tony Stark.
to kind of like Tony Stark, but for everybody. My glasses are tied to a Web3 distributed ledger. It protects me and my privacy and my data in certain ways, because the ledger that kind of decides what's public knowledge and what's private. It also protects me and my content. AI, I'm speaking to, it's speaking to me. And as I go around, I say, oh, wow, there's take a video of that bird. And I follow the bird and I go, send that to Riza. Send that to my mom. Tell my mom I'm thinking of her. Tell Riza you're unstoppable, like a bird that can fly, or whatever it is I decide to say. Or I say, oh, take a picture of that bird. Okay, take a video of that bird. Okay, now make the bird behind it a rainbow and put in the rainbow like, we can fly. And then make a crypto collectible and only make one of them or only 100 of them and give them to the 100 people that engages my content the most, or sell this one for this much because it's a one-of-one art piece that I thought of. And it's all done through my glasses, through augmented reality. And I've been talking about this idea on stages now for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So imagine augmented reality galleries that are curating all this amazing art that's co-created and it responds to your heartbeat. Okay, so imagine this. Now you're out and about in the Capitol Village, and depending on your heartbeat and what's going on with your biology, maybe it takes a watch or glasses, the buildings, the rainbow buildings, they literally start transforming, almost like you're on a psychedelic, but they start transforming through your glasses based on your actual biology. Like that would integrate beauty
idea.
That's tuned into your humanity. So these are the types of things that obviously, that's not happening in a month, probably not in a year, maybe not in a decade. But I do imagine for our great grandkids that's the type of world that they're living in, is a world where you don't have to have screens on buildings. You have to go to Times Square to see screens. Everywhere you go, you have an expression of the world that's specifically cultivated to you and all made possible through this technology.
The thought that I'm having right now is that I hear about all these Web3 technologies, like the way that it's all decentralized, or the way that crypto makes it so you can own everything that you make. And I think, oh yeah, that's great. I can take a video and it can be in my wallet. But sometimes it's like, well, then what do I do with that? And so my vision right now is that eventually these kinds of things will just be integrated without you even really knowing it into the systems that we use every day, like social media or like texting, because it's going to be, I mean, on iPhones, Apple Pay is just basically cryptocurrency. People don't even really know that. And they have a little wallet right there. They call it the Apple Wallet, but it's basically a digital wallet. And I think that these things are going to be integrated just into the way that we go throughout society, so that we can eventually not even have to think about it being, oh, this is Web3. It's just, this is technology. This is my phone. This is the thing I've used forever.
I do think that creators will be paid royalties, and their families will be paid royalties through the trusts that they set up, or through the ledgers, the wallets that they basically put into a trust for their families in perpetuity forever. So I do imagine artists of all sorts, physical artists, digital artists, anybody that has their art tracked through AI enforcing on the blockchain, that they will basically have checks just come to them and their family over time, and that, you know, massive benefit for descendants will happen because of the work that their ancestors are doing today.
Yeah.
Another thing that I've been thinking a bit about is these global platforms, right, that are fully integrated with one another. It's not that Apple has their ecosystem and Samsung has their ecosystem and Google has their ecosystem, and then Coinbase has an ecosystem, and then Robinhood has an ecosystem, and then Alexa has one, and Siri has one. But I imagine a fully integrated art and entertainment ecosystem.
Do you imagine that it's that they are all their own thing, but they're in
Connected
one bubble,
by,
or do you imagine that they're all on one foundation?
I imagine
think that's different.
they are their own thing, not connected by a bubble, but interconnected through
Because
distributed
of
ledgers.
what's the foundation. Okay.
And the ability for AI to make the synapse connections.
Yeah.
So I do imagine that artists would be able to kind of trade their artworks with one another, and that their artwork could be living. So let's say there's 10 artists and each of them give their art to the other 9, that it can be transformed over time. And then you
modeled
could
to what they
basically
want.
bake in
Yeah.
like non-commercial rights. You could bake in commercial rights, you can bake in licensing. And so I just imagine like AI animated NFTs that are mutating, remixing, and then being able to be resold. And every time they're resold, a royalty fee is be able to be paid back to the original artist. And you can even kind of rewrite what ownership means.
Yeah.
And again, this is not something that's going to happen next month. But I do think that based on all the copyright direction that things are going, the current regulation and compliance, and the fact that we've gone from having a full headwind of regulation against innovation to now having a full tailwind for innovation, at least here, that's my perspective in America, that we have some really wonderful things ahead of us.
Yeah. Something that you said sparked me to think about how, I mean, Midjourney right now, they just released a For You page, which we all know, like YouTube or TikTok or whatever social media we use. It has this For You mechanism where they have an algorithm that models to learn the kinds of things that we want to see. And Midjourney finally just made something that's really similar to this, where instead of me just seeing a bunch of images, they're all really cool in their own right, but now it tailors the things that I see based off of the things that I've interacted with in the past. And I think this is something that isn't even going to be known that it's happening. Kind of like they don't tell you that there's an algorithm when you go into YouTube. It's there. It's a part of YouTube. And I don't think it's going to be like that for really anything. I think they're going to tell you, yeah, this is our system. But behind it, it's always feeding off of the things that you actually like and showing you what you genuinely want, which is a really, really interesting idea. And I think that's actually not that far out.
Yeah. So how about things that you think could happen the next year, next month? What is in your mind that is possible kind of within this, this next cycle?
I think that's one of the things that is definitely possible. The fact that things will be tailored to us without us even really knowing it, which is something that is so hard to do because you have to see all the things that the person likes. But now that we have AI, it makes it so that things can go so much quicker and so much more seamless. You don't have to have someone monitoring everything I do. You can just take all the data that I've seen and just put it into numbers and then give me the things that I want to see. That's one of the things I think is definitely going to happen. And I also think that talking more about the Web3 side, crypto is just going to become something that people use. I think that big bank is going to probably become a thing. And it's not just going to be in the Middle East. It's going to be everywhere. Banks are going to start opening that you're allowed to trade things like crypto because it's simply the future. It's something that makes so much sense. Now you can have digital currency. Like Nigel said yesterday, you have Bitcoin, you have Ethereum, you have Polygon, whatever you could think of in crypto. Okay, that's a currency. Cryptocurrency is just a currency, but then it's online. But then you also have, I don't know, USD, the dollar, or the yen, or the pound. You have also currencies, but those are physical currencies. So it's digital versus physical. They're the same thing, and people are going to eventually just realize, okay, these are the same thing. We don't need to think about it as too much more than this. At its root, it's just a currency that's on my phone.
I do imagine that independent entertainers are going to be the greatest benefactors of all this technology. I imagine concert tickets being bought in real time, no middleman, no ticket master, nobody taking a fee, but a fan wants to go to the concert. The artist decides what it is, the fan wants to go, and in real time, they acquire the ticket in their digital wallet and they send the money, digital money, to the artist's wallet, and all that can be coordinated with AI. So I envision like fans just within a month, certainly within a year, just saying like every time these 5 artists are playing within driving distance of me, I want you to go and acquire the ticket, and you get access to. I put this cryptocurrency in an escrow account just for you to use to make sure that I don't miss out on the best seats. So I imagine that being a reality. I imagine that artists and entertainers, especially independent ones, will start taking cryptocurrency as payment primarily. I also imagine them getting tipped in cryptocurrency in addition. So a lot of people are listening to artists' music on YouTube, Spotify, Pandora. They are watching digital art or physical art that's been pictures taken all over the world. And the fans say, I really want to support the artist. I'd love to give them $5, like buy them a cup of coffee. And I think that we're going to have easy ways of doing that just by saying, I just send them $5 of USDC or Ethereum or Bitcoin, whatever it may be.
I've seen how when someone's maybe selling something, they have their little Venmo QR code right there. And I think that as great as Venmo is, there's all these things behind it that they aren't really telling you. Like there's big banks or fees and things like that. And so instead, it's just going to be, this is my MetaMask QR code. And then someone can send it to you without having a multitude of fees, without it being worried if is this actually you or not. And all the different things about crypto can also be applied to that, all the things that make it safer and actually yours. And so I think that it's kind of just going to become the next thing.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up and say goodbye to the internet? The World Wide Web.
Just teach yourself. There's so many ways you can now. Whether you're using AI or you're just asking someone, there's so many things that are amazing that are happening in the world. And I don't think you should try and other AI from Web3. There's a reason that you always say Web3 AI, because they're just technology. They're just new things that are coming out that make it so that an old task is now easier. And so if you like living in the world, you should find out what's coming next.
Love it. Well, let me show you how glorious it is here in Santa Cruz County.
It is beautiful.
This is the Capitola Village. And there we have our paddleboard friends. People just leave their paddleboards out there. I'm a people. We got our neighbors, the seagulls out there. I'm time-lapsing 2 places. That one's been time-lapsing now. I think it's been time-lapsing for 10 days.
Really?
Yeah, and this one, it got stopped, but I restarted right away. So basically these 2 things have been going for 10 days. I want to go a whole month so I can basically see the moon. The moon sets right here every day. I want to see the moon and how it changes. I just want to watch the sun, the little minor changes that happen all the time. This wharf is about 150 years old. It just got rebuilt after getting demolished by the big storms.
Yeah.
And then we got the Stockton Bridge over here. This bridge has been here a long time. And so, you know, we enjoy living here and we enjoy sharing it with you. Our intent is to go live and do this type of thing over the course of at least Fridays. Maybe we'll do this on Saturdays as well. It gives us a chance to do something a little bit different than what we've been doing at the radio station, and also gives us a chance to give the radio platform to my brother Dan and Nigel and let them have a one-on-one conversation. Let's Malakye and I really kind of dive in to the conversation so that we can not be having a big combo with 3, 4, 5 plus people. There's something about just having that one-on-one.
Yeah.
But we want to share the one-on-one combo with you. Well, we're at the top of the hour. So I'm going to end our live stream now, and we'll be back again, certainly Monday from the studio, unless we decide to do a little bit of this on Saturday. Time will tell. Until then, be well.